Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I'm Lunar D8. The dawn is your enemy. Andy and I are running down the sidewalk like normal, breathing the damp Florida air into our exhausted bodies. You're getting slower lately, aren't you? Run like you mean it, scrub. Run like your life depends on it. She's been especially cruel today for some reason, and it's really starting to get on my nerves. I'm obviously trying my best, Andy. Cool already. We'll get back to the park soon enough, just like we always do. Andy faces me, her lungs pushing against the membrane of her chest like pistons of a well-tuned machine. It's only after standing perfectly still that it becomes obvious to me what an imposing figure she is. Even so, she's acting like a brat. I won't be intimidated. Like we always do, huh? Nope, today is going to be different. Today, we're going hard. No, we're not, Andy. It's my last day in town. We're not changing things up. I'm calling it Captain's orders. Freaking wrong. Andy briskly walks over to an old wooden table that was left on the side of the road. After a deep breath, she shatters it to bits with one decisive blow. Jesus Christ, Andy! What the hell? You clearly need some motivation, so that's what I'm going to give you. Start running, Oliver. She picks up a chunk of wood from the shattered remains of the table and waves it over her head. She can't be serious. Here I come. Oh crap, she's serious. Holy shit, holy shit. I practically trip over myself sprinting away from Andy. After only a minute or going as hard as I possibly can, it becomes obvious that she'll eventually catch up to me if I keep running in a straight line. I would feel that regardless of the motivation for doing this, if somebody did this, I am not having anything to do with them ever again. And I'll be actively avoiding having any contact with them in any way, shape, or form. Without even really thinking, I make a sharp left and climb over Chinkling Frinks into somebody's front yard. Not funny, Andy. This is mutiny, you know. I don't care. How else am I supposed to know if you're prepared or not? I push myself over the fence, unapologetically dashing through backyard, over another fence, and after backyard. Thumb wrestling contest? I don't know. Just leave me alone. I can't. I need to know if you can handle something like this. Please, I need you to keep running. Show me that you're strong enough to leave. I'm too tired to continue yelling at her anymore, so I convert all my remaining energy into moving forward. Eventually, I reach a metal wall that's clearly too large for me to jump over. I leap as high as I possibly can, my hands barely scraping the top. But as I begin clawing my way up, I feel something heavy slam against the base of my spine. Gah! But I don't understand. She was still so far away. Did she throw that chunk of wood at me? The pain is so intense that my hands give out completely. I fall to the ground and land directly on my back, pushing almost all of the air out of my lungs. Andy stands over me, a disappointed-looking silhouetting a disappointed look silhouetting her face. You failed. Now any number of terrible things could happen to you, Oliver. What's to stop me from killing you in cold blood right now? What's to stop me from dragging you back to my basement and torturing you for weeks and weeks until your mind shatters like a damn China doll? You weren't strong enough to live. Now you belong to nature. And nature belongs to me. But I don't want you to die like that. Why? Why do you have to be so selfish, Oliver? Why don't you care about living? Why don't you fight back? Why am I so bad at my job? Why? 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 Journal page 40. I remember the exact moment I became so afraid of dying. Prom. I'm waiting at Judith's house for Violet to get here, so we can all leave for prom. Not gonna lie, everybody looks really classy, even Ash and Andy. Anvil finally got a chain for his pocket watch, it seems. That top hat of his is probably a bit overboard, though, but I don't think I'm really one to talk. Judith, of course, looks like royalty, but that's to be expected. Not gonna lie, it almost feels like we're about to go steal jewelry at a really fancy party or something. Kinda funny to think how the first thing we're doing in this getup is cruising up to Steak and Shake. I can't wait to see what Violet's wearing, though. Honestly, I think I'm looking forward to that more than anything else. Well, I didn't have any problem completing the second item on Miss Lawrence's lip. I think I'll gonna stop writing for a bit now and just enjoy myself. Who knew that she'd look so amazing in red? I can't explain why, but it just feels right. Welp. Prom itself is hilariously terrible. Holy shit, I forgot how bad music can be. We're all pretty much in the same camp here too. Judith just has to make a few announcements, prom king, queen, and then we agreed to get the heck out of here. It might not be all bad though. Violet found herself a chocolate fountain and started running plate after plate of food back to us. I think Ash ate 5 chocolate dipped marshmallows. Correction, it was 7. Then Andy laughed so hard at one of the songs that punch started dripping out of her nose. And I don't think I've ever heard anything come out of Anvil's mouth that would constitute a cackle, but this boy was cackling. I don't know what at, but I don't think it really matters. It was probably Andy. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to miss high school, but I'm definitely going to miss this. I think I'll miss it a lot. At least we still have the summer. It was last summer, after all those stupid jellyfish washed up on the beach. Up until then, I guess I'd always been pretty good about never letting you guys see me sweat. But there were just so many of those gooey little bastards that day. And when I saw that big football-shaped one stuck in the sand, God, screaming is such a useless reflex. All it does is give other people a chance to learn how weak you really are. Before I knew it, all of you were just staring at me. Well, we were worried about you. We're not judging you. We're just we're worried. We're not judging you or thinking less of you. We care about you. Also, we also don't want to get stung by the jellyfish. You know, it's not like you're having an irrational reaction to something. It's not like, oh no, it's a plastic bag floating in the wind. Oh, it's scary. Like, no, you're reacting to odd texture things that can poison you and cause horrific pain and kill you. I knew Ash would never let me live it down. And, I don't know. I thought maybe if I ran up and punted the thing, then I could have passed the lame display of mine off as some kind of battle cry or something. Oh, you had to be rushed to the hospital after that. That is extreme. That's... And were you walking barefoot? Because, I mean, that could have killed you. Lord knows that jellyfish are already as big as a damn football anyway. So I grit my teeth, thought of Ashton, and just rushed it. And, well, it was only a couple seconds after the kick landed. I was certain how stupid all this was. There was no pushback. Yeah, it's jelly! It would just goo around your foot really hard and tight and then be stinging you a lot. And honestly, I'm surprised that didn't actually kill you. Even if we rushed you to the hospital as fast as possible, honestly, you should be dead. I'm glad you're not, but I'm just saying logically, you should be dead. It was like its whole body was actually made out of jelly. That's the feeling I remember most, my ankle being deep in the body of some brainless freak. It was horrible. The stinging started after that, I think. And then the swelling and the crying. I don't blame you on the crying. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I were to get stung that bad by a jellyfish, I would probably cry a lot. I didn't have time to be ashamed. Shame alone would have been a luxury. There is no shame in being, not okay with large amounts of pain. There's no shame in that. As your friends, we're just, want to help you, and, well, generally we feel angry at ourselves for being powerless to help you. Because we want to be able to make your pain go away right away, and we can't do that. The best we can do is, very, very clumsily try to rush you to the emergency room so they can, probably pump you full of some sort of anti-venom or toxin. I just didn't want to die. Well, I mean, we didn't want you to die either. Or be in pain. Or be possibly crippled for life. I know Judy called the ambulance after my leg got all red, but it's true that Violet just ran off and took some lady's beer cooler? What? I know... Oh! She was going to use it to try to treat your wound. Though I'm not sure how. Ice? To ice the wound? I don't know if that would be effective or not. But I imagine it'd be something I would assume to do. Because I don't really remember what you're supposed to do about somebody getting stung by a jellyfish. So, I mean, I don't know if icing would work, but I mean, usually if icing is supposed to help with swelling. I mean, I would assume ice would work. And more likely in a panic, I would try ice. I don't know if it would help, but I would try. Is that where the ice came from? Because it's apparently what kept me from passing out. At least according to the guy at the hospital. Violet saved my skin that day, didn't she? That makes all this shit even worse, didn't it? The park is completely empty, save for Andy sitting on a nearby bench. I cannot help but interpret her inactivity as some sort of horrible omen, and so I do my best to approach her tactfully. You okay, Coach? I try to say that without seeming disingenuous, but my presence alone seems to put her on edge. Ash is really gone then, isn't he? Oh. Did you know? Did Judy know? Why didn't anybody tell me? I just found out. I passed by his house during my warm-up run, and everything was just... Why? I don't understand. We were so much closer than this, and he just left. He just left, and we were nothing but strangers. That wasn't even anything I could do about it. There's a tangible swelling panic in those last few words of hers. I should probably try and de-escalate this somehow, so Andy doesn't stress herself out completely. I'm sure he had a good reason. Ashton wouldn't do something like out of character for nothing, right? Maybe he needed to leave. Maybe he's trying to protect us all somehow. Andy stands up for the bench, clearly unfazed by my tepid hypotheticals. Let's just run. I'll have plenty of time to feel sorry for myself later in the day. But you're still here, so we should make the most of that. Sure. Lead the way, coach. Neither of us say a word during our jog. Even so, I can feel Andy's temperament growing more and more intense as we make our way closer to the school. To my surprise, she doesn't slow down after reaching our usual stopping point. Instead, she simply hops the gate in one fluid, aggressive motion and continues running. Andy. She takes a hard left toward the baseball field, the opposite direction of our normal access point on the roof. I scramble over the top of the gate, doing my best to keep up with her. By the time I find my footing, she's already running back my way, carrying something long and shiny in her hands? Wait, are those baseball bats? Are we going to play baseball? Andy, what the heck are you doing? Oh, I'm just going to go into the school to blow off some steam. Want to come along? Pretty sure that's a felony? She tosses one of the metal bats through the air and into my hand. It's not midnight, so there's no way she's going into the underworld to look for sirens. Do we be sensible, or do we... We'll just go full Higurashi. Sure, Andy, let's go and show that stupid locker how tough we are. That'll fix this shit, right? That'll fix everything up real good. Unreal, absolutely unreal. Don't be stupid, Andy. You know, smashing up the school like this isn't going to bring anybody back. Concept art showing Miss Lawrence's muse. Venus might have looked like, unliked after sitting on Judy's lecture about chemicals. But wasn't Judy describing that as her muse? Nope, but it'll make me feel a hell lot better than I do right now. And what about the fact that this is property damage? You're okay with getting arrested? Nobody cares what we do anymore, Oliver. I thought you knew that already. I thought that much was obvious. You do you. You do whatever. I'm going inside. Peace out. Have a nice life. Annie pushes herself past me in a haze of rage. Nothing about what she's doing is healthy, but if I tried to physically stop her, there's no doubt she would absolutely run me over. I can do whatever, huh? You're acting like a real jerk right now, Coach. Yeah, that's right. I might not be able to stop her head on, but if I piss her off enough, there's a chance I can get her to chase me. Even if I can't outrun her, I can at least try and lure her away from the school. That might give her enough time to calm down. But I need the right kind of bait. You're only doing this because it's easy. There's nothing death about going into an empty building and throwing a temper tantrum. What are you, 5? You want to hash it out with me, that's fine. I'll spend the whole day talking with you about Ashton, I don't even mind. But if you go into that school and just break stuff instead of doing what you need to do, then all you'll be doing is admitting your own weakness. An attempt to emphasize the point, I drop the bat in my hand at Andy's feet. She raises her eyebrows, chuckling a bit to herself in the process. Was that supposed to motivate me or something? Oliver, that was some of the hokiest crap I've ever heard in my entire life. Do me a favor and take a public speaking class once you get to Asheville, right? I thought I gave a really good speech. Andy flings the baseball bat over her right shoulder and smashes open a nearby window. After a couple of swings, the gap she makes is large enough for her to jump through. I follow Andy to the school, screaming after her as she runs down the hallways. She doesn't stop to break anything else. She just keeps running down the halls, almost as if she's looking for something. It's only after we reach the art building that Andy finally stops. She stands in front of locker 713, her eyes wide and her breathing sporadic. Andy, stop it. You're not thinking straight. What if Ash is back there? That's our only way back in. You could... Not able to finish a sentence for Andy begins swinging. Over and over again, she slams the bat into the locker. We should have done this a long time ago, Oliver. What sort of dumbass keeps the door to hell open for 3 entire months? I hate this town. I hate this black hole of a school. All it does is suck you in and never let you go. I hate feeling so goddamn helpless. I hate Siren's Call. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Her screams of frustration echo throughout the ambient hallways, a chorus of rage peppered by multiple metallic thuds. Flakes of orange paint shoot off the frame of the locker as she bludgeons it. After 3 minutes or so, the door flies open completely and slides across the lacquer of the floor. I hate it, I hate it. The tip of the bat bends a little as Andy weakly smacks the top of the locker. She finally stops moving, her dented baseball bat making one last audible clang as it falls to the ground beside her. A light sob bubbles up from Andy's throat. Why did you do that? Ash could have been trapped back there. He might have got lost or something. Now there's no stop talking. You know for a fact that he isn't back there, Oliver, so why are you trying to make me feel like shit? Stop playing dumb. Ashton has no reason to hang around us anymore. He graduated. He's moved on. He's gone. So let me have this. None of what I did is going to matter anyway. Let's go back to the park. Ash had the right idea. The less time we spent here, the better. We don't bother running back to the park like we normally would. About halfway there, Annie begins mumbling something to herself over and over again, but I'm too far away from her to make out what it could be. After what feels like hours, we finally make it back. I find the nearest bench and collapse on it. Even though we didn't run as much, I've still been on my feet all day, and so my legs are stiff and unresponsive. Annie hovers over me with a disgusted scowl on her face. Stretch. Give me like 30 seconds, okay? I'm really not feeling it right now. Stretch, Oliver. I'll stretch in a moment. Do you want me to fall over when I go to stretch? What's it to you if I stretch my legs or not? Just let me be for a little bit. 30 seconds, that's all I'm asking. Annie puts her hands on her hips like a disappointed mother and digs her heels into the sand. Why would I need to meditate here? What possible thing would I need to know? Is that a hint telling me I should just wait? That I need to actually wait 30 real-world seconds? Okay, it's been 30 seconds. Why is she always so forceful about this stuff? Whatever. It's not like she can force me to get up. She just got to be patient. Her facial expressions are changing. Annie's presence is clear Annie's encounters by breaking your limits and thinking outside of the box. But I somehow managed to weather it out. The throbbing pain in my hamstrings has lessened significantly, and so I have no problem getting up and stretching my legs against the picnic table. Wow, sure is amazing what a little rest can do for the body, don't you think? Annie doesn't respond. She just placidly stares at the bench, the color slowly draining from her face. I don't get it. Shouldn't you be happy that I'm finally starting to stand up for myself? It means I get to emulate some of your famous tenacity, right? I'm only acting the way you want me to, so what's the problem? Again, no response. I feel I'm being very good at communication here. She's not giving me anything more to work with. It seems... I guess we're done here for today then? You probably need some time to yourself, so I'll just see myself out. Later, Coach. Try not to worry about Ash too much, alright? You're wrong about standing up for yourself. Andy? You're not standing up for yourself. You said it before, right? All you're doing is copying me. And that's all you ever do, Oliver. Well, how else am I supposed to pass for normal, Andy? Everyone considers my default to be unusual in ways I don't understand. So at least by just acting like all of you, I can at least pass for normal. Excuse me? You always act like this super deep person whenever you're alone with Violet, but you're really just following her lead, aren't you? I mean, I can use other people as a sounding board. Otherwise, if I'm left to my own devices, I just talk about 20 different subjects and space out. Because you sure hell are nothing like that whenever we're alone together. It's the same with Emil too, and my sister. And it's definitely the same with Ash. You're the most white bread guy on the planet, but whenever he's in the room, you're all of a sudden you're this badass dude that's ready to raise hell and break the law? Bullshit. You're nothing more than a stupid... I have feelings. Just because I'm apparently terrible at emoting them doesn't mean I don't have them. Heck, I'll say this. Most of my fucking life, I bottled everything up. Didn't really talk to anyone about my feelings about things. I mean, why would I? What? So I can be like a little whiny bitch? After all, most of my life I didn't talk to people about feelings. Then, well, some bad things happened about 15 years ago, and well, my reaction was to talk to a lot of my friends. I probably annoyed the crap out of them. I appreciate they listened to me, but I get the feeling that like I bothered them. Granted, I'm not saying that's why they're all gone now. I'm just saying they have their own lives and they have their own stuff to worry about. I'm just saying I miss them. It'd be nice if they texted or something. But I'm just saying this. There are a lot of people out there who thought I didn't have emotions or feelings. But I actually have a lot of emotions and feelings. I have very strong emotions and feelings. I just apparently don't express them very well. I'm at least expressing them much more via YouTube. But I am not a robot. I have emotions and feelings. And it does hurt my feelings that you seem to think I... You're not defending yourself. There's nothing to defend. You know... So... I get enough of that from my own inner monologue. So, but enough of Lunar D8 having terrible self-esteem. You've got no soul. Everything about you is either borrowed or stolen from someone else. But hey, that just comes with the turf, right? Spurgs like you don't know how to be actual people. They can only be what they're told to be. No wonder Miss Lawrence loves tinkering with you so much. You'll eat up any chipset she throws on your damn plate. What? I'm not really sure what that means. That's why you're watching over Violet for her, right? Because that's what she told you to do? Well, no, I care about Violet. I mean, I appreciate her giving me a little guidelines about how to better watch out for Violet. But it's more like she is the guardian, so I mean, I'm only 18 and she's only 18. I mean, gotta have the older person, who's qualified when it comes to medical stuff. I mean, I'm not a doctor. Man, you're such a good student, Oliver. Such a good boy. If only you loved Violet as much as you loved kissing ass, then maybe she'd still be going to college with you. Well, that's kind of a fucked up thing to say. Also, my assumption right now is that Violet didn't want to wear her helmet. We didn't make her wear her helmet because, we didn't want to force anything on her because we're so used, especially with the Sunflower Pie prequel game. Our own parents were very controlling and assholes about that kind of stuff. And so we wanted to get away from them with how controlling they were. And, well, I didn't want to be controlling myself of her because I understood how much it made me feel terrible So I didn't want to do anything I felt was wrong or abusive toward her. And because I didn't force her to do something against her will, i.e. wear her damn helmet, she then had an epileptic seizure while watching a rocket, fell and hit her head on the sidewalk, and now her brains are leaking out of her skull because I didn't tell her what to do. And I didn't tell her what to do because I didn't want to be controlling of her, because I understand how bad it makes me feel when other people try to be controlling of me. So, I mean, that's basically empathy, right? Like, I understand how something makes me feel, so I care about how other people would feel the same emotion I would feel in that same situation. But then it has horrible, horrible consequences that, you know, she's dead now because I didn't want to force her to do something. And then also the whole love kissing ass. I mean, I'm sorry. You know, it's more so you are forced into a situation where you are taught to be obedient. Okay? So whether it's a mix of autism or abuse or overbearing control shit going on, and especially stuff in childhood, I'm sorry I'm not emotionally coping and developing with it up to your standards. That I am not perfect, and I am just trying to be as functional and normal as possible. And just trying to be happy and get through life. But in the real world, love only belongs to people that are actually capable of loving themselves. Well, how many people by this standard and again, it's like, in the real world, love only belongs to people that are actually capable of loving themselves. Well, I'm sorry I'm a fucking failure at everything, tend to be depressed, and have been told very bad things about myself thousands and thousands of times by the time I was even 11. So, just saying, I'm trying, Andy. This is just making a bad thing worse. And nobody taught you how to do that yet. You don't know how I am when I'm alone with other people. There's no way you could. I know everything you know, Oliver. Which is why I'm damn sure you're not in love with Violet. Not really. Why wouldn't I be in love with Violet? Whose fault is it that she wasn't able to graduate again? Hell, you never even freaking looked at her until Miss Lawrence ordered you to. You don't really care about her. You were just another shitty caretaker. And now we're here, yelling at each other in the park over stuff that should be obvious. I mean, obviously everyone should be able to take care of themselves, but I mean, whether it's a friendship or a romantic partner, you're both supposed to try to care about each other and help each other, right? I mean, that's... Not that I would know how that's fucking like. This video game is healthier than any relationship I had in real life. Like, granted, I haven't had very much relationship experience. Granted, the relationships I did have lasted a long period of time. But they were not emotionally healthy. And my marriage was the least emotionally healthy out of all of it. Heck, I tend to be a lonely person in general. But I was never more lonely or alone than when I was married. It was a really terrible fucking marriage. That being said, all the most healthy emotional, like all of the most emotionally healthy parts of all of the relationship parts, all the relationships I've ever been in combined, this video game is more emotionally healthy than any of my IRL relationships. I could have an imaginary conversation with a fucking anime character, and that's more emotionally healthy than any of my IRL relationships have ever been. Obvious. Wait a minute. Man, you two could have been picking out furniture for your dorm together or thinking up ways to end up in the same classes. But nope, you're here in Siren's Call, getting beat on like the doughy loaf of bread you are. So go on, stand up for yourself, Oliver. Because believe me, I'm dying to see what that would look like. I've got no soul, huh? Do you honestly think that, Andy, or is that just something you've been told by someone else? I wonder, would you be shouting all this crap if I joined in on smashing that locker with you? Because that's the key to all this, isn't it? Right. You may be tough, Andy, but this isn't your kind of battleground. I've got this, I know I do. I've been dealing with my own low self-esteem longer than I've known you, Andy. So I can use the skills I've learned in helping myself not feel as terrible to help you through whatever it is you're projecting onto me. Granted, I'm still fucked up, but at least I can use that to help you, my friend. Well, Andy, you're right about one thing. I do like giving people what they want. And yes, that is something I picked up from someone else. So fine, I'll defend myself if that's what you're after. But you're dead wrong about me being soulless. Because if all I know how to do is copy people, then why didn't I beat up that locker with you? You came back with 2 bats after all. So how is it that one of those bats magically ended up at your feet? Easy. Joining in wasn't something that even occurred to you, obviously. You were too busy thinking about trains, or blue hedgehogs, or whatever it is you people thinking about. I feel like you're looking down on me. It's like, do you not like being my friend? Am I not wanted? What's wrong with trains or blue hedgehogs? All those things are awesome. Got no real fire in your belly. So you probably just wanted to look cool. Or quoting a movie like... or some shit. I see. I can't help but laugh a little, but after hearing this last little bit... What's so funny, boy? Nothing. It's just kind of relief that you think I suppose. You know a lot about me, Andy. A great deal more than I'm probably comfortable with. But it's nice to know you still don't have the full picture. At least not yet. What? What? I don't know if you're acting like this because I've been acting different, or because there's something legitimately wrong with you today. But for what you've gotten right, it's good to know you're still able to be wrong where it matters. I know everything you know, Oliver. Then you would know how much I care about you being happy, Angelica. I'm yelling at her, aren't I? Oh. To have all my good work undone yet again. That's fine, though. I don't have to be better than her. I only need to be honest. Of course it was an option for me to beat up that locker with you. It was always an option. I want him back too, Andy. Maybe not in the same way you do, but if you feel half as much for Ash as I do for Violet, I try and lower my voice for this next part. Then I completely understand why you wanted somebody to smash that locker with you. You don't know what you're talking about. I wanted to blow some steam, that's it. It has nothing to do with Ash. Remember that jab you made at me earlier? The one about my interests? Do you want to know what my real obsession is, Andy? The personal equivalent to your own fervent and insane exercise routine? It's affect. It's trying to understand how the rest of you guys are feeling. Yeah, I do try to do that. Not plumbing, not dinosaurs, not 17th century French shipping routes, just piecing together and evoking certain emotions. My brain could have given me anything to fixate on. But much like you, it glues my thoughts to the one skill the people I love need from me more than anyone else. How lucky is that? I don't understand. I'm saying I care about you guys. I have entire journals worth of poems about you guys. Stacks and stacks of desperate attempts to make sense of all this crap we're going through. Turns out that one of the big perks of being an ass kisser is that you're pretty much always on the lookout for those sorts of things. And poetry is a pretty good way to keep track of it all. Again, isn't that lucky? I guess it depends on your definition of lucky. Personally, I think it's really creepy sounding. How is it creepy that I care about my friends and write poems? All I'm trying to say is I think I get how you feel right now. I've never seen two people bicker the way you and Ash did. But he knew how tough you were. He knew you didn't need to be coddled. It was probably nice to be seen for who you are, and still admired for it. So now that he's gone, some of that's gone too, right? You can't really get that from anybody else, at least not in the same way. That really, really sucks, right? Stop trying to psychoanalyze me, you freak. 1, I'm doing it out of love and care. 2, weren't you kind of doing that to me? And 3, I don't appreciate that. Andy tightly curls her fists. You're not supposed to know how other people feel. I know how other people feel. I mean, granted, not everybody understands how other people feel, and you never fully understand other people. Maybe I can be bad at reading certain emotions sometimes, and maybe sometimes my own past traumas can make me feel paranoid and expect negative things. And of course, sometimes I'm right, which of course kind of reinforces that negative feeling, but that's a separate issue. But I do actually care about people. I do have feelings, and I do have the ability to understand other people's emotions. I don't care how much you wrote because you don't know how the fuck all about me and Ashton. You're my friends. Maybe I don't, but I want to know, Andy. I'm trying. I want to be a good friend. I want to understand what you're going through. Doesn't that amount to anything? We don't have to go running around acting like everything's great. If I'm wrong, then please tell me how I'm wrong. You are wrong. Then tell me how, damn it. I'm trying. No. Then how am I supposed to understand? What? What? Did you fall down? Andy's scream pulses through the air, scaring away a nearby group of seagulls. Before I know it, she's on the ground, slamming her head in fists against the bench. Please stop that. You're hurting yourself. Andy, stop it. You're gonna hurt yourself. I feel like she's already done that at this point. We're gonna try to get a better look at this. This is probably gonna be bad. The skin on her left hand has already begun to... Please? The deep red blood is trying to mix with the dry... Okay, at this point, I would physically grab her and, hold her away from the hard object that's hurting her. I mean, obviously, I'm going to feel uncomfortable about that, but at the same time, I can't just stand here and let her keep hurting herself. Andy, please, stop. No. No, no, no. Go away. Bring him back. He's a dick, but at least he's real. There's nothing real about you. Nothing. That makes me feel sad, though. But not as sad as I feel about you hurting yourself so much. She's not stopping. I should physically grab her. I mean, otherwise she's going to cause possibly permanent, irreversible damage. Okay, don't panic all. I'm panicking. How does it go again? What did the book say? Speak in a reassuring, calm voice. We're past that point. We need to physically get her away from the thing that she's using to physically harm herself. We are past the point where we can talk her down from this. She is already actively trying to hurt her. Trying is perhaps not the correct word. Succeeding. She's succeeding at hurting herself. Something like that, right? Annie's not a child, though, and if I try to help her... No, I need to do this. It's the only way. I think we're past that point. I wrap my arms around Andy and give her a gentle, reassuring hug. Okay. Okay. What? Get off me. Only if you tell me how a hug is worse than what you're already doing. Shut up. I'll kill you. If hurting me makes you feel better, then I won't stop you. Just stop hurting yourself, please. I have no idea if this is the right thing for me to do. So I just try to be the kind of person I needed way back when stuff like this was common. It's funny. Whether it was my friends, other family members, even romantic partners, try to be for them what I felt I needed in life. Because I knew what I lacked and what I needed and what wasn't there for me. So I tried to be that for other people, so they wouldn't feel the way I was. Heck. I still say the day my son was born was the happiest day of my life. I have so many happy memories. I really wanted to raise him myself. I wanted to be everything for him. That I felt I lacked. That any of the pain or sadness or problems I went through, I felt I could protect him from all of that. That I could look back and feel that everything I didn't like about my own childhood I would know what not to do. That way I could do everything right for him. And of course, every day I generally felt so happy just trying to be a good father for him. I did everything absolutely right. And yet I still failed. I still wound up getting divorced and having my son taken away from me. I got divorced, and my ex-wife basically took my son away, and then, in order to protect him from her, basically killing him, I agreed for him to be in custody of his grandparents on his mom's side. Heck, her own parents are scared of her. Heck, I can say, I never did a damn thing wrong. As a father, I was perfect. With the exception of 2 flaws. There's only 2 things I ever did wrong as a father. 1, I chose a terrible mother for him. And 2, I was never rich. I've always been poor, and I've always been... I can get by, I have a computer, I have a place to live and food and games and stuff, but, I've never had enough money to count as middle class. And I've always had to work in factories and warehouses my whole life. Part of me feels maybe things could have gone better if I was rich or something, and I could have done something better then. Aside from that, really the main thing I ever did wrong was just I chose a terrible mom for him. And while I can say I did marry her because I did love her, I can also say, had I not married her, I would have never had a wife. I literally married the only woman on the planet available to marry. Had I not married that exact woman, I never would have had a child. I would have never been able to have a family. And I wanted a family very much. I was there when my son was born. I changed his diapers. I gave him baths. I fed him. I gave him bottles. I fed him food. I took him to the doctors. Took him to the park. I taught him to talk. I taught him to walk. I would read him stories. I would read him books every day. I would tell him every day 100 times that I love him. And I'd give him hugs every day, that way he was never alone. That his dad was always there for him. And now, I don't think he even wants a dad anymore. But even if he doesn't want me around anymore, I guess I'll always be there for him, even if he doesn't want me to be. I'll always love him, always care about him. I don't know what's brought on how things have changed recently. I assume other people have been saying something to him about something, or something's going on that I'm powerless to even know what the hell it is. And even if I did, there's nothing I could possibly do about it. And again, whose fault is that? My ex-wife. She created the situation that forced all of this. Then again, looking back, despite the fact that I tried really, really hard to save that marriage, I'm so happy I'm divorced from that bitch. Heck, every woman I've actually been in a relationship with was actually not a good person. I did make some happy memories with people. And I don't regret the relationships at all. I don't regret that I did get married. And most of all, I'm just happy and grateful I had a child at all, that I had my son at all. And for, he lived with me till a little bit past after he was 3 years old. So I at least had those few years of him living with me, and after that I had a couple years of him coming over to spend the weekend until the whole COVID pandemic did the government lockdowns and stuff, and then after that didn't see him as much, and just... I assume he must be going through his own stuff. Heck, around the time that he was at that age, it was other people for the first time mentioned the idea, bring up the question of, am I autistic? And what they're bringing up is they're like, well, it's getting apparently it's basically saying that he's autistic, and that all of the things that they're pointing out in terms of his personality that would be considered autism traits are all things that are like an exact mirror of me. Every single thing they list off, and they even mention that they can see it in me too. That it's and it's the thing, even though for the most part I haven't really been able to raise him. So whatever that is, it's genetic. So, but even then it's... And it's not for a moment that I'm thinking less of him in any way for it. It's more like I'm looking at my own past and how I struggled with things and how that caused me pain. And I just don't want him to feel that same pain. And like I said, I can't say my parents were necessarily terrible, and I do love my mom very, very much. But I do have a lot of mixed feelings about a lot of things. Things that I don't want to go into detail about in terms of my own childhood. But I can just say I'm the kind of person that I understand things from my own past where I felt it would have been good to have someone supportive for me. And so then I feel that if I see other people feeling the same way, well, I at least know what they are lacking in order to feel support, because that's what I lacked. I don't know. I guess the main point is that you guys know what I'm trying to say. Oliver's saying it pretty good right here. Even if it's not who I am, even if it's not real, I try and be that for my friend. I remember Emil trying to say something similar, that even if you don't necessarily understand empathy in some situations, you should still try to be supportive. And I'll say this. My care for my friend is real, so how is it not real? It's just me taking a few extra steps and thinking out what to do and how I feel before acting. So it's still real, it's just real with more steps and more social awkwardness. You're pathetic. You have zero self-respect. I've stepped in shit that has more than going for it than you. Okay there, Dad. Nothing I haven't heard already. So who are you copying this time? Violet? My sister? No idea. All that matters to me is you stop wailing on that perfectly innocent bench. I don't really care about much else right now. Okay, I get it. Can you let go of me now? You're all sweaty and smelly and stuff. It's weird. Well, we were jogging and stuff, and it's hot out. We're in Florida, and it's humid. Andy lightly shakes me off her body and pulls herself onto the bench. I stay on the ground but sit up, looking up to my friend as she begins to collect herself. The redness in her face and stillness in the air around her feels painfully nostalgic. I've never met anyone who gave less of a shit about staying alive than you. But that's not bravery. Ash is brave. Hey, I'm just having the same outlook on life as like Spike Spiegel. It's like you're copying an anime character. Whatever. You describe yourself as a fusion of 11 pairs of anime characters. Whatever. It's my personality. I'm just saying anime characters to display the traits that I feel mirror me in certain combinations. But yeah, like Spike Spiegel is like, you know that scene where he's in the space shuttle and it's crashing and they're not sure about the heat shielding? He's like, well, whatever happens, happens. You're just a crude imitation of the real thing. I'm fine. That's not something that I think I can ever respect. I don't need respect. I'm just happy you're safe. That's all. And what about Ash? Who's going to be there to make sure he's safe? His brain-dead drunk of a father? Please. The only reason any of us survived this summer was because all of us were there to support each other. So who's to say he isn't already dead? You can't think like that, Andy. Just because you love somebody doesn't automatically make them your responsibility. He's graduated. He's moved on. We just gotta let him go. Hypocrite. Huh? Never mind. I've already put you through the ringer enough today. I can't believe you actually called me Angelica again. You really have that big of a death wish, Cap? Well, a death wish would make some sense, right? Given the context for your name and all that. Huh? Never mind. I'm just being facetious. I didn't mean anything by it, so let's just cool down for a bit, okay? Okay? Is it a play on the word and I? Rather than Andy? I already know he doesn't love me back. At least, not in that way. Oh. I used to think it was because he didn't really view me as a woman for some dumb reason. I thought he was just being stupid. But after seeing the way he looks at Emil now, well, I'm pretty sure me being a woman doesn't have anything to do with it. Which sucks so much more. So much more. That sounds about right. We don't know for sure if he feels that way, though, Maybe all you gotta do is ask him. You know he does, Oliver. And so do I. Don't feed me that crap. Besides, Ash and I don't exactly have that kind of relationship. Not yet. If either of us put ourselves on the line like that, we'd probably both end up just laughing it off. I do plan on asking him one day, if I ever get to see him again, that is. He's not gonna die, Andy. You'll get your chance. You don't know that. Again, I don't know if Violet's dead by now. And we're just like having a delusion inside our head from like fucking DMT or some shit. Well, like all of a sudden like Joe Rogan. Say, what happened? Well, Terrence McKenna and Joe Rogan showed up, and now we're on a DMT trip. And all of a sudden, Alex Jones is flying through the sky. He's just that kind of guy. You don't give him enough credit. Ash, the gutsy do. He might end up surprising you. Self-respect is one thing, but having some amount of self-respect for your friends is important too, right? Big words about respect come from a guy who says he doesn't need any. I don't need it, but I'm not going to be around much longer anyway. You and Ash are different. You still have plenty of time together. I'm sure of it. You scare me when you say shit like that, Oliver. Why should it scare you? You don't fucking care, do you? I mean, who would fucking miss me if I died, huh? You'll be around. Can't be my brother-in-law if we don't see each other at least once a year, right? Not this again. I'm telling you, Captain, she's totally nuts about you. And that's a bona fide fact straight from the girl's diary. I'm not dating her, Andy. Being with Judith that way doesn't sit right with me. Fine. Your loss. She's too good for you anyway, seriously. Andy hops up from the bench and brushes off the dirt from her legs, swaying a bit in the process. Are you lightheaded from earlier with the, banging your head into the wood? Also, are you bleeding? Speaking of Judith, would you mind giving her a call? Do I have a phone? I'm not feeling so hot. Are you having heat stroke? I don't know if I have a water bottle. Is there a water fountain nearby? Andy collapses back on the bench, clearly winded from today's events. Holy... are you okay? Judith? Please, get Judith. Do I have a phone? Alright, can I borrow your phone then? I needed to call her. I don't have a cell phone. After a bit, Andy manages to hand me her phone. I call Judith, communicating only what's needed for her to understand her sister's situation. Within minutes, she pulls up in an old minivan. Is that another Persona 5 reference? And the two of us somehow manage to stuff Andy in the back seat. We drive back to our house at a deliberately relaxed pace. Okay. Okay. I'll brew her up some chamomile tea. Well, we should go ahead and save. By the way, the game's blind now. I think it was blind since that scene where Andy threw the piece of wood at me. So it's been blind since then. Well, an hour plus. I'm trying to make shorter videos. Okay, later guys.